Welcome to MightyVid's One True Crime. In today's video we are going to look into Moore's murderer Myra Hindley's death, which was documented the 15th of November 2004. But is this so? Or was she actually released from prison and the public outcry steered away from her by her so-called death? Some people think so, and some think there is logic to this theory. Let's take a look. Hindley, along with her boyfriend Ian Brady, was convicted of murdering 5 children in the 1960s and subjecting nearly all of them to the most despicable sexual acts. These children was tricked into getting into Hindley's car, while Brady would follow on his motorcycle. Later they would be raped and murdered, then their bodies would be buried on the moors. These murders could not have happened without Myra Hindley earning the trust of the children, thinking they was safe getting into a car with a woman, but Hindley was no normal woman with human emotion. She would later claim she was manipulated by Brady, playing the innocent Catholic girl who didn't bury the bodies and was not there to see Ian Brady rape and murder them. Even going as far as saying she was drugged while these crimes was taking place. These lies and manipulation tactics didn't work, but she never stopped playing the victim. Hindley and Brady was caught in November 1965 when Brady viciously killed 17-year-old Edward Evans with an axe in front of Hindley and her brother-in-law, David Smith. Brady had twisted his ankle during the attack and couldn't walk. He got Hindley and Smith to move Edward's body till the morning, when Smith promised to come back with a pram and help Hindley load the body into the car. David Smith informed the police about the murder what Brady had committed and Hindley had cleaned up. Brady had also confided in Smith that this wasn't their first murder. After police arrived, Hindley protected Ian Brady from the start, saying it was a fight that gotten out of control, but other murders started to unravel. Myra Hindley played the brainwashed Catholic girl who was manipulated by Brady right from the start of the trial. The jury obviously saw right through her lies, just like the British public had done also. Even though Hindley was sentenced to life in prison and was never going to be free again, she never gave up hope and carried on with her lies up until the day she died. The strange thing was, several people believed her and wanted her to be freed. People with strong ties to the British government. Like Lord Longford, for example, who believed Hindley was misled and that she should be forgiven and set free for her part of the murders. Hank Pakenham, the 7th Earl of Longford, was a former Labour politician and penal reformer. He was manipulated into believing Myra Hindley's lies when first visiting her in 1968. He was a devout Roman Catholic and believed people can be reformed. Right from the start, Hindley took advantage of the situation when Longford told her she needed to cut off writing to Brady if she ever wanted a chance of parole. Hindley started to see the possibility of parole through Lord Longford and cut all ties with Brady. She went back to religion and committed to being a devout Catholic, just like Longford had suggested. Upon hearing about Longford believing Hindley and knowing one day she would have a shot at parole, Brady asked Longford to visit him, and there he told Longford what a manipulating and evil person Hindley was. How she was very involved in the crimes and even enjoyed them. Longford carried on visiting Hindley and struck up a friendship with her. Hindley and Longford fought hard for her parole and making appeals on denied applications, but in 1999 it was ruled that any further parole hearing would be unsuccessful and Hindley would spend the rest of her life behind bars, after campaigners who was family of the victims fought hard also. The Home Office knew for sure there would be a massive public outcry if Hindley was let out of prison, but Hindley didn't stop there and admit it was over for her. In 2002, a prisoner challenged the Home Secretary's decision for extending their life sentence. This prompting hundreds of other prisoners to appeal this, as the Home Secretary and government shouldn't have the right to extend sentences. Only judges. Now a lot of prisoners, including Hindley, had a very good chance of being released from prison. Home Secretary at the time David Blunkett told Greater Manchester Police to find more charges on Hindley and Brady and looked into charging them with more murders. A loophole in the law which meant there would be another trial and it would be dismissed on the grounds that they wasn't brought forward within a 15-year gap of the original trial. This would be called abuse of process by the Crown prosecution. Hindley supporters was campaigning for Hindley to be freed and her identity to be Changed just like Robert Thompson and John Venables. Strange really, with it being the year Myra Hindley died. But we are not finished there either. On November 15, 2002, Myra Hindley died in prison from bronchial pneumonia. She was 60 years old. Apparently no undertakers would take care of her cremation. Makes you wonder who actually did. No family members attended her funeral, just a small congregation of 8 to 10 people, and no one wanted her ashes. It was 4 months later when her ex-partner collected and scattered her ashes 10 miles from Saddleworth Moors. People was glad Hindley had died and felt safer that she was gone and never to be released. But maybe that's what the government wanted the public to think and feel, and nobody would be looking for a dead person. There have been several sightings of Myra Hindley years after her death. One that made sense was not far from a nunnery and having car trouble. The Mail asked if she was Myra Hindley, which she was not happy about at all, but in saying that, would you be if being accused of being Myra Hindley? She would now be 80 years old, and we know only the good die young, as these kind of people seem to outlive us all. Of course, there are no pictures of the so-called Myra Hindley of today going around, or newspaper stories that was allowed to stand and remain with us to ponder at. I'm not 100% sure if she died in 2002. How can I be? But there is a possibility. What do you think?